This is just such a fantastic way to get all of us in the room, because it really is true that we can't just talk to the choir, can't preach to the choir, we got to reach out, but at the same time it's really important for all of us, Husky Flag, to really stay connected, and it's really important. I'm really excited to see a lot of and hear a lot of messages that we talk about in Farm Bureau in our training, repeated in some other circles, because that's really important. So I saw this at a conference once when they used their phone for their notes, so I'm just going to go all techie on you. So I guess what I really wanted to focus on is that it's the fall. It's the season of teams. You've got all kinds of teams ramping up for their fall sporting seasons and things, and school starting. And at my house, I have a cheerleader, and I've got a football player. So I've got two kids who are just passionate about what they do. They know what they're good at. They know what they're bringing to the table, and they're just ready to show it off and shine. But they're also working with new coaches. They're with new kids. They're on new teams. And so they're learning too, how do their skills fit in? There's only one quarterback, there's only one cheer captain. If you don't get those positions, where else do you find your niche? And so they are learning how to learn again. And so that's really important for them to take their passion, take those skills, and find out how they fit. And I just really got to thinking that that's what we're doing at Farm Bureau these days. I really wanted to talk to you about how social media has become a really important part of our team effort to train our folks and to help them share their messages, okay? Because we're a general farm organization, and it's kind of a huge challenge because our members are also members of the Cattlemen's Association. They're also members of the Iowa Pork Producers Association, soybean, corn, all these folks. And so we have to find a way to fit into their lives and also take their time and talents and mold it into this big general kind of team. We also have 153,000 members of Iowa Farm Bureau. They all have passions for their farms, for their families, for their communities, for their industry. If we don't carefully take those talents and get them on the right team in Farm Bureau, we're going to go in 153,000 different directions. That's not going to help us. We work very hard at Farm Bureau to help you find your niche, find where you fit, find where you can make a difference in your life, in your operation, and to our consumers. So we talk about that. Maybe you are great at going to DC and lobbying. You like to get in front of people and do that. Maybe you are great at policy. You work at home with your farmer members and bring that to our policy conference, which we'll have just in a couple weeks. But maybe you're a communicator. Maybe you're a good writer. Maybe you are a writer, but you don't know it. You just need a little push. And Larry Seiler is just a perfect example of a success story of someone who really, just was open-minded, said, teach me, what's new, what can I do to reach out to consumers? And that's such an important part of what we do. So, and it's just wonderful to see people here today, Darcy Molesby, Larry Seiler, Val Pleggy, Shannon Latham, and folks that we are, part of our membership, part of our industry, who are out there doing these things, and we want to champion what they do. So a couple ways that we're doing this is that we want to highlight our members' strengths and then take our strength in numbers and multiply that message, because that's truly what we need to do. We want to find some good messages, and sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes you don't agree with a policy. But you're still a member of the Farm Bureau, and it's hard to find those matches sometimes. But if you really want to promote your industry and to share messages with consumers, just like we heard earlier, you can't talk ag speak. What's an input? Oh, my inputs are high. I don't know what an input is. I mean, some people don't even understand what yields are. We talk about an acre. Do you know how large? We talk about this at the Iowa State Fair. Do you know how big an acre is? Is it the size of a basketball court, or is it as far as the eye can see, or is it about the size of a football field without the end zones? It's a football field without the end zone. So it gives people perspective. Otherwise, they have no idea. So you really need to try to reach out to people. So really, with social media, it's a huge opportunity for us to find your niche and then really multiply those messages to all those networks. So we want to take, though, also tradition and technology and make that work together. So, for instance, when we plan an event from now on, say we do America Needs Farmers. This was it's a campaign we have with the University of Iowa. We love Iowa State University. We want to make that known, that loud and proud, because without Iowa State, we would be lost. We have a lot of research, a lot of things we depend upon. So why would we even go to Iowa? Why would we want to reach out to Iowa football fans? Outside of your circle, we want to reach out to people. We wanted a national audience with a nationally televised night game. We wanted to talk to people who came to that game with questions and games and give them prizes. It's just what we were hearing earlier. You have to reach out. Your audience is not in this room, people. You need to reach out, and that's what we're doing. But when we make an event, we'll say, we're going to have a tailgate toss, we're going to give away koozies, we're going to have Tim Dwight there and sign autographs and all these things. But we also need to have, what's the hashtag for the day? Who will be tweeting? Who is going to upload the pictures to Facebook? These are all part of the vernacular now, and that's how you need to approach things too. Social media has to be a part of it from the very beginning of your plan. And so we also will put together a list of tweets. And this is what I do. I make sure it fits 140 characters. It can be information about agriculture. That Kinnick Stadium holds 75,000 fans. How many people does a farmer feed today? 155 people. So I'm mixing and matching some of this information. So those are things we do. We share those with our speaker corps members, which are about 100 farmer members who are trained to get out and share the message with outside farm audience and media. And then I also share it with our county offices. We have 100 county offices. There's only 99 counties in Iowa, but we do have 100 offices. Anyone know the county that has 2? In Dalgruns, you can't answer that question. Poweshiek has 2. Or Potawatomi, sorry, has 2, East Pot and West Pot. So those are things that are important to us. I share that. That's part of what we do, and we want everyone who has access to social media to be part of that plan. But then also, even though we're here for social media, please understand that face-to-face cannot go away. We still have to have that. That's why we're at the fair. We have to have farmers talking to consumers. I took a farmer to a WHO radio interview the other day, and in the office, or in the studio, is the Iowa representative for the HSUS, for Humane Society of the United States. He had no idea who she was. He said, "Hi, I'm Blake White from Athens County. I raise cattle, and I'm just happy to be here." They got talking about animals because she also works with the ARL, and she was talking about cats and tips of taking care of your cats. They got talking about cats and veterinarian care and animal care, and I think his ignorance was bliss because they had a wonderful conversation on a really cool shared value. It was animals. So it just shows you not to ever discount an audience, because maybe if he'd known that about her, he might not have gone that far with their conversation. So part of that, and so of course I'm tweeting, I am Facebooking, all these kinds of things, but that's important for our folks too. You have to mix traditional face-to-face with the social media part of things too. And also pictures. I said this at the last 140 conference. You can't just tell, you have to show. You can talk, all you're doing, but if you're not going to show people, get those pictures on there. I'm a writer. I could write you a 1,000-page paper about why farming is important to you. Or I could show you a picture of one of our farmers carrying a calf through the mud when the mud was so deep a couple springs ago that the calf would most likely die if he wasn't out there. I can show you a picture of farmers out looking at these devastated fields so you can actually see what they're dealing with. That is the power. Just like Val said, you have to be showing what you're doing and make those connections too. And so it's really, like I said, it's a team effort, and you really have to work hard to get your folks on board. You're not acting as a robot. We all have the same message, and I have to say what Farm Bureau says. No, we want to help your message about your farm, your industry, your life shared with others, whether that's about food or animal care or economics, whatever that is that your passion is. So, like I said, I kind of see that my football kit is our way of breaking through the line. We want to break out to that other audience. You know, we've got a great team, so let's break through the line to score. And then I've got that whole, we're going to cheer you on. We're going to do whatever we can to support you. So, like I said, team mentality is important. Always keep social media in your plans as you move ahead, and that's all, folks.